The winning blueprint presents.
In the lab room.
Next game up on the slate of games. Finally, it's not family business. However, it does pit two teams who were able to notch victories a week ago against each other. And so both of these teams have confidence coming into this football game. Cincinnati Bengals are traveling to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. And the Jaguars were able to get their first victory of the season against the Indianapolis Colts in comeback fashion. And so they have some confidence right now, something that they haven't had all season. They've been in ball games. They had a chance to beat Minnesota. Blaine Gabbert did his best to take them to a victory in week one. It wasn't enough as Christian Ponder matched his late game heroics with some of his own in taking them down the field, getting a field goal, and ultimately beating them in overtime. And then Blaine Gabbert did it again in Indianapolis. This time it was enough to seal the deal as they were able to beat the Colts last week. And so in a tough win. And so Jacksonville has something that they haven't had all season, and that's confidence from a win. And so now this is a dangerous Jacksonville Jaguars team, and it's something that they haven't done impressively all season long. They did a week ago, and that was run the football with Maurice Jones-Drew. He was well over 100 yards, and he was really getting chunks against that Colts defense. The Bengals are a team that can give up yards on the ground. The Redskins were able to eat them up on the ground. Now, granted, that's a different type of running attack when you're looking at Robert Griffin III, Alfred Morris, and they actually ran triple option in that game. And so tough on a defense when you have to play, three different options out of the backfield carrying the football. But this Bengals team can score. They can flat out score. They have just a number of weapons on the offensive side of football, excuse me. They can get it done on offense. I love what they put on the field on offense. It starts with A.J. Green. Adriel Jeremiah Green is a top flight receiver in this league. You don't believe me? Look at his numbers. Look at his play on the field. This guy is an absolute animal at the receiver position. You look across from him, and Armand Benz is not a bad second option to go to. And he's starting to come into his own. And then just when you thought it was safe, they still have the smallest dual threat Andrew Hawkins out there that they can throw at receiver. He's a problem. Need to know where he is at all times. And then not to mention Jermaine Gresham at tight end. He is a beast. He's a man at the tight end position. He catches everything. He's strong. He gets yards after the catch. They have Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis in that backfield. And they have the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton, getting the football to these guys, who's just a consistent, steady guy at the quarterback position. This is a Cincinnati Bengals team that, if they can just not turn the football over, play good defense, they're going to beat a lot of teams because they can score on the offensive side of football. I didn't have them winning a lot of games this season because I didn't think their offense was going to be able to duplicate the success they had a season ago. But they're proving me wrong, and that's what I want teams to do. I want you to prove me wrong. I'm not just going to give people respect. I don't just hand out respect. Respect is not given, it is earned, and I don't give anything out. You have to earn my trust. You have to earn my respect. And the Bengals are slowly but surely doing this week after week by scoring points and scoring more than the other team and winning football games. This is what I expect them to do against Jacksonville. Jacksonville has some confidence. I told you this is a gritty, tough Jacksonville defense that may not keep this team in the game for all 4 quarters, but they're going to do as much as they can to keep this team in the game. A lot of the time, problem is that offense of the Jaguars isn't sustaining drives. They're turning the ball over, putting pressure on this Jacksonville Jaguars defense. And after a while, they just start to break down. And so they do as much as they can, but in the long run, if the offense isn't going to sustain drives, isn't going to give them a chance to get a breather on the sideline, and they're going to turn the ball over and put them in precarious situations, this Jacksonville Jaguars defense is eventually going to break down. But against the Cincinnati Bengals, the Bengals offense is going to put pressure on this Jacksonville Jaguars defense. Enough to the point where the offense of the Jaguars is going to have to score points. And I don't know if they're ready to do that. I don't know if they're up to that challenge just yet. And so I have the Cincinnati Bengals taking care of the Jacksonville Jaguars on the road, 24-16, taking their record to 3-1, dropping the Jacksonville Jaguars to 1-3 on the season. Moving right along, we go back to some family business. Just when you thought the family business was over, we go back to some family business. We go to some old-fashioned AFC West, I hate you rivalry in the form of Oakland Raiders taking on the Denver Broncos. This goes back to the Al Davis days of, Mike Shanahan and Al Davis and the Broncos and the Raiders. And these two teams just flat out don't like each other. There's a element of disdain there that, many rivalries don't have. They just flat out don't like each other. And being that Mike Shanahan is there, this rivalry has lost a little bit of its luster. But maybe it'll gain some more steam now that the defensive coordinator, Dennis Allen, new head coach of the Oakland Raiders, is now the Raiders head coach. Now, he didn't leave Denver on bad terms, so maybe that won't add any luster to this long-standing rivalry. But it might add something just because he wants to beat his former team. Who knows? Nonetheless, it's an old-fashioned AFC West rivalry between two teams who don't like each other and two teams who had different outcomes a week ago. The Raiders notching their first victory of the season. And I was honestly shocked that they were able to win at home against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I thought it was going to be a long time before the Raiders were able to get a victory in this season. I was thinking the Raiders might be one of the last teams in the league to win a game this season. When it came down to it, we were going to be talking about 3 or 4 teams who were 0-8, and the Raiders were going to be one of them. Not so. The Raiders had other ideas. They've got to win now, and they got a little bit of confidence. They were able to notch 34 points against the Steelers defense. That's not an easy thing to do. And so they have some confidence coming into this game against the Denver Broncos, who have dropped 2 straight and look pretty bad in doing so. And now, granted, this Denver Broncos team has played a very arduous schedule. We're talking about the Steelers in week 1, the Falcons on the road in week 2, back home for the Houston Texans. We're talking about teams that are combined. The Falcons are 3-0. The Texans are 3-0. So we're looking at 6-0 there. The Steelers are a 1-2 on the season. And so we're talking about 7-2 between 3 teams on the season. I can't tell you if any other team in the league has played a tougher schedule record-wise, but I don't think they have. There's been another team in the league that's played a tougher schedule to this point than the Denver Broncos. And so they're having probably a sigh of relief right now. We can finally let our guard down just a smidge, not a lot, because this is a divisional rival. This is family business. The Raiders are going to come out and try to hammer these guys. And so you can never let your guard down in the National Football League. But they were on high alert every week. They had to play their best just to have a chance. And so this week, if they don't play their best football, if it's just some good football, they can get away with the win. The Raiders, on the other hand, have to play their best football to win because they're on the road and they're not a good football team yet. I'm not convinced that that win last week means that they're a good team and they're all good and everything's fine in Raiders land. No. The Raiders have to show me that they can win more than one game in a row. They got to show me that they're actually the team that scored 34 points a game. They're not a 34-a-game team, points a game team in this league. No way. Show me that you can do that more than once. Show me that that's more of what you are and not You're not the team that scored, 16 in week 1 against the Chargers. You're not the team that scored 13 against the Dolphins in week 2. I think you're more indicative of that team than you are the 34-point team that showed up a week ago and surprised the Steelers and got a win. I'm not sold on the Raiders. I'm not sold on the Broncos, but the Broncos are home. They have Peyton Manning. I don't know what that means anymore, but it has to count for something, I guess. They're at home. I think they're the better team, although I'm not that sure. Hard to really say, hard to have a grasp of this Denver Broncos team because they've played such tough teams thus far. Really can't gauge them on a team that's still trying to gel together and put the pieces of the puzzle together against the competition that they've played. It's just been tough. Let's see if they can get on track against this Raiders team. I think they will. 23-17 at home against the Raiders. Family business. Think they'll take care of family business. Take their record to 2-2 on the season and drop the Raiders to 1-3 on this young season. Next up on the slate, who's playing better football right now than the Arizona Cardinals? Are you surprised? I am. But I bought stock in the Cardinals 2 weeks ago when they were able to defeat the New England Patriots on the road. So I'm not as surprised as everyone else, but I am surprised. I bought stock in them 2 weeks ago. That stock rose to epic proportions last week as they demolished the Philadelphia Eagles on the road. I don't think their stock is going to get any higher than it is right now. I mean, they're playing some really good football. And they got the Miami Dolphins coming to town, a team that they're still trying to find out how to win in the National Football League. They had a prime opportunity to be on the upper side of the win column and be 2-1 right now. Instead, they let a game slip away at home that they had every opportunity to win. And they let it go to the Jets last week, a divisional opponent. And now they find themselves in a hole because now they have to go on the road against a very hot Arizona Cardinals team and try to get a win. And I don't see that happening. You had a chance last week to go to 2-1, get some confidence to your rookie quarterback, give this team some confidence that they can get it done, and you blew it. Now you have to go on the road against the Arizona Cardinals team who's playing good football. They're playing really good on the defensive side of football. They shut down a Philadelphia Eagles team that's one of the most explosive offenses in all of football. They shut them down and held them to a meager 6 points a week ago. Not many teams can say they've done that to the Eagles over the last 3 seasons, let alone doing it in this young season. And so the Cardinals are playing great on defense. They're going to play great against the Miami Dolphins. Reggie Bush is a question mark for this game as he went out with an injury against the Jets. He wants to go, but I don't think he'll be able to play in this game. He might be able to go, but I don't think he will. It's not worth sacrificing him in a game that you're really at a disadvantage in to start. And so I don't know if he's going to play. Don't think he's going to play. If he does, I don't think it's going to matter. The Cardinals are the better team. The only way the Dolphins stand a chance is if they pressure Kevin Kolb, force him into mistakes. He is the weak link of this team. Him and no Beanie Wells means Ryan Williams is going to have to shoulder the burden at running back. He can fumble the football. He's shown that he will put it on the carpet and has no problem doing so. That's your angle if you're the Dolphins. Force turnovers. Turn those turnovers into points. Pressure this Arizona Cardinals offense and make them make mistakes. Kolb can make mistakes if you pressure him. Ryan Williams can fumble the ball if you force him to do so. That's your only angle in this game. That's your only way of winning. If you don't do that, if Kolb is able to manage the game, throw the ball to Larry Fitzgerald, move this team down the field, you don't stand a chance in this game. I don't see you standing a chance in this game. I have the Cardinals taking care of business 26-13 at home against the Miami Dolphins to take their record to a surprising yet very convincing 4-0 record on the season, dropping the Dolphins to a 1-3 record. Moving right along on the slate, it's an interesting game. An interesting game that sees 2 1-2 teams that are struggling on opposite sides of the football. See the Washington Redskins traveling to Tampa Bay to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a game that matches 2 teams who are struggling on opposite sides of the football. The Redskins struggling on the defensive side of the ball. They can't stop anyone right now on offense, mainly through the passing game. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who can't score the football. They had an offensive explosion in week 2 against the Giants. But in their other 2 games, respectively, they scored 16 in a winning effort against Carolina and 10 against the Dallas Cowboys a week ago in a loss. And they looked really bad on offense against the Cowboys. That offense looked anemic. Josh Freeman, after starting out the season having 2 solid football games, was terrible in week 3. He was something like 10 of 27, 10 of 28 for a little bit over 100 yards. His passer rating was in the dumps. And he wasn't a quarterback that you thought was taking steps in the right direction early on in the season. I like what I saw from Josh Freeman. I thought last game he missed open receivers. He struggled to read defenses, held on to the ball too long, and just didn't play the quarterback position the way it needs to be played in this league to have a chance to win consistently. And so this Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense is struggling. But their defense, their defense is playing some really good football right now. They are getting after the opposing quarterbacks that they're playing against. They really took it to Tony Romo last week. They beat him up, and they beat him up good last week. And so the Redskins, who had issues protecting Robert Griffin III a week ago against the Bengals because of the absence of Trent Williams, have to watch out. Because if they don't have Trent Williams in this football game, and he hasn't really practiced all this week, and it's looking like he won't be able to go. If he's not able to play and they got to stick Jordan Black out there at left tackle, they are in some serious trouble. And I'm talking about Robert Griffin III is in imminent danger because this Tampa Bay Buccaneers are pinning their ears back and going after opposing QBs. And they're hitting home, and they're hitting home hard. And so this is a game that I think that the Washington Redskins can, should, and will win. But if they come out on the defensive side of football against a struggling offense and give up points, they're going to lose this game. I think that this defense can get on track against this Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense because this offense is struggling. It's anemic. And if they can just put pressure on Josh Freeman and change up their looks, confuse him, and make him not sure at what he's looking at, they can force him to hold on to the ball a little bit longer, give that pass rush a chance to get there, and limit this Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense. They have to stop the run, which the Redskins have done pretty well this season, with the exception against the Rams. They've done a pretty good job at stopping the run. And so I expect them to be able to hold Doug Martin and LeGarrette Blount down. But they have to be able to confuse and get to Josh Freeman, limit that offense in their attempts to score points, and make it an ugly football game, and one that allows the Redskins to score enough points with Robert Griffin III and that offense. They have to protect him this week. He cannot continue to take the punishment that he's taken in the first 3 weeks of this season. If he continues to take the hits that he's taken in the first 3 weeks, they are not going to survive this game, and he's not going to survive this season. And this Redskins team is going to go downhill and go downhill fast. But if they're able to control this game with the running game, I think they need to run the football more in the conventional sense with Alfred Morris, who I think has been phenomenal early on in this season. If they can run the football the conventional way with Alfred Morris, with Evan Royster, and the newly acquired Ryan Grant, they can run the football, go play action fake, allow him to take some pressure off of, or allow this running game to take pressure off of Robert Griffin III. If they have to concentrate on the run, that'll give him more time. That'll give that pass protection a chance to protect Robert Griffin III, allow him to push the ball down the field, make plays, put points on the board, and beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which I think they can do in this game, 23-20 on the road. A much-needed victory for the Redskins. They need to have this one. If they don't get this one on the road, this season can get ugly for the Redskins very quickly. They need to take their record to 2-2, drop the Bucs to 1-3, and start to right this ship before it becomes too late. Moving right along on the slate, this is probably, looking at these games, was the marquee matchup coming into the season when looking at the Week 4 games. You thought this was going to be a matchup of possibly 2 3-0 teams, maybe 2 2-1 or 1 3-0 and 1 2-1 team, but you thought this was going to be the battle of the NFC Titans between the New Orleans Saints and the Green Bay Packers. But all of a sudden, this is a matchup of two teams fighting for their lives, respectively, as the New Orleans Saints are 0-3 and the Green Bay Packers are 1-2. Of course, they were jobbed. They were robbed of a game. They should be 2-1. Nonetheless, it's official. They're 1-2, and so they need this one bad. They got to have it. There's no other way to say it. The Packers can't afford to fall to 1-3. The Saints, by all accounts, in my estimation, are done. I've already written them off. Drew Brees has given us the, I have no doubt in my mind that we're going to turn this thing around. Whatever. You're done. I've stuck a fork in you. You are finished. Okay? If you were a turkey right now, I would be carving you up and serving you up with some gravy. You're done. Meanwhile, the Packers have a legitimate shot of still winning that division in the NFC North, and they just have to start playing better football. They shouldn't have even been in the position that they were in against the Seahawks. They allowed the Seahawks to hang around, and they made the Seahawks a very confident team. They allowed Aaron Rodgers to be sacked 1,000,000 times in that game. They tried to establish a running game. They did so in the second half, but what happened to the offense that was so explosive that the defense could give up 30 points and the Packers could still win by 11? What happened to that team? They're right now, they are a shell of themselves on offense. And I keep saying this every week, and I keep saying it in hopes that they wake up on offense, thinking that this would be the week that they'll finally wake up on offense and that they're going to explode on somebody for 38 points. But I'm not sure if that's actually coming anymore. This might be who the Packers are now. They might not be that explosive team. Maybe that was just a one-year anomaly. Maybe they're not that good on offense. We know Aaron Rodgers is a very good quarterback. But maybe those receivers just had an out-of-body experience, and they'll never be that great on offense again. Maybe that offensive line for 1 year was excellent, and now they're just a regular offense. They lost some pieces, and it's some different pieces along that offensive line, but is it that bad now? Did those changes to the offensive line make the offense that bad? Whatever the case, the Saints are struggling on offense and defense. They're not taking advantage of opportunities on offense like the Saints normally do. The defense, meanwhile, is just terrible. The Saints' defense was never that good. Even when they won the Super Bowl, they gave up points. But they were a playmaking defense. They got turnovers. They turned those turnovers into points. And they put the offense back on the field, and the offense was explosive, and they were scoring points. That's not what this team is about anymore. This defense is no longer a defense that's going to turn you over. They're no longer a defense that can stop you from doing what you want to do if you're willing to do it. And so this New Orleans Saints team is struggling on both sides of the ball. I can't see them beating the Packers on the road, and they're done. I've stuck a fork in them already. I've already pronounced their season as being finished. And so I really don't have any sympathy for them. I don't care to see them rise from the dead. They're done. And I don't think they need another opportunity. They blew some opportunities to win. And they cost me a game last week as I went out on a limb and said that they were going to be the sole survivors. They blew it for me. And so I'm done with them. So the Packers are going to win this game 27-17. The Saints aren't a good football team anymore. At least not for the 2012 season. Maybe when Sean Payton comes back next year, maybe a couple of things happen. They draft a couple of guys. Nick Toon comes off of IR. I don't know. I'm throwing darts and I'm trying to hit something. I don't know. I'm making up stuff. I'm giving them excuses. They're a bad football team right now. And they're going to lose this game to the Packers. 27-17. They're going to be 0-4 after this game. The Packers are going to be 2-2 after this game. And the Packers need this victory more than the Saints do, because the Saints aren't going to do anything this year. The Packers are, or at least they're going to try to do something, and so they need to win this game in order to stay afloat in this division and keep pace with the Bears, who have a golden opportunity to raise their record to 3-1 on Monday Night Football against the Dallas Cowboys. In case the Packers decide to continue to play ugly football, allow the Saints to hang in there and steal one from them and drop to 1-3, and then the Bears can take one on Monday Night Football, go to 3-1, hey, you look down and you say, hey, I'm not afraid of the Vikings. I'm not afraid of the Lions. The one team that scares the hell out of me, and the Packers is sitting at 1-3. I got a shot to win this division. And so the Packers need this one. And I think they're going to get it 27-17 at home against the struggling New Orleans Saints. So that takes us to our Sunday night tilt. Sunday night football. Where we see the New York Football Giants take on the Philadelphia Eagles. This is family business, maybe at its finest right now. I don't know. Maybe overdoing it because I'm an NFC East guy. Love to see NFC East teams go at it. And so I love to see East on East crime. And that's what's going to occur on Sunday night as the Giants offer their big blowout victory and that red-hot offense go to Philly to take on the Philadelphia Eagles, who right now are 2-1. But is this not the worst 2-1 you've ever seen? Probably not. I'm over-exaggerating, but who turns the ball over 15 times and still has a winning record in 3 games? I mean, Vic has turned it over 9 times himself, 6 picks, 3 fumbles lost. This is a Philadelphia Eagles team that's struggling to take care of the football. And I don't know how they're 2-1 right now. This smells, though. This game reeks of a Giants meltdown. Just when you think the Giants are clicking on all cylinders, they blew out the Carolina Panthers in convincing fashion last Thursday. Seems like they got a bye week. It's been such a long time since we've last seen the Giants. They're getting healthy. I think Hakeem Nicks is going to be able to play. Victor Cruz came out and said that Nicks wasn't going to play, but I find it hard to believe that Nicks was that close to playing last week, didn't make it, and now he's had a whole week and a half off and he can't go. That'd be a head scratcher for me. But if he can't go, Ramses Barden stepped in and played solid football a week ago. Why can't he do it again? I don't know. We'll see. But I do know that Victor Cruz stepped up, played a solid game against the Panthers. Martellus Bennett has been playing solid all season long. And so this Giants team has, a newfound running back with Andre Brown back there at the running back position. Then you have Ahmad Bradshaw coming back from injury. They look to be at full force at the running back position. This Giants team is playing good football on offense. Eli Manning is unconscious right now at the quarterback position. He can throw the ball with his eyes closed or do one of his patented no-look Eli Manning throws and hit his receiver right in the numbers. That's how hot he is right now. This Philadelphia Eagles defense, is going to have to get the Giants and limit that offensive attack by getting to Eli Manning and getting him off his spot, making him uncomfortable. When Eli Manning gets in a groove, it's when that New York Giants offensive line is able to protect him, keep him clean, and allow him to get into that groove. And then he just starts seeing red. And everything looks like an open target to him. And he starts getting x-ray vision, and he starts to see holes in the defense. And he starts to pick you apart. And if this Philadelphia Eagles defense can't get pressure on Eli Manning, they can't stop the running attack of the Giants and allow them to dictate the pace and tempo of this game, get after Michael Vick, force him into more turnovers, which he's done all season long, turn the football over. This Eagles team is going to be in trouble at home. This is family business, however. And so you throw everything that you've seen thus far in this season out of the window. The Giants dominating the Panthers, throw it out of the window. The Eagles getting demolished by the Arizona Cardinals on the road, throw it out the window. This is family business. 2 teams who know each other all too well. They're going to duke it out on Sunday Night Football. It's going to be great. It's going to be a hotly contested ball game between 2 teams who know each other like the back of their hand. And I expect the Eagles to show up and play good football. Just not good enough to beat the New York Football Giants. I don't trust the Eagles. I trusted them coming into the season. I thought they were going to be the team to beat in the NFC East this year. I don't trust them anymore. They have to earn my trust again. They're too sloppy and too careless with the football. And Andy Reid doesn't seem to understand that he has one of the best running backs in all of football on his football team in LaShawn Shady McCoy. And he doesn't seem to understand that getting him the football is the easiest way to winning the football game. So with that said, he's going to turn it loose and allow Michael Vick to throw the ball 36 times again, throw 3 interceptions, fumble another 2 times, and they're going to lose. I'm exaggerating again, if you couldn't tell. They're going to lose, however, to the New York Giants, 24-23 at home in a nail-biter, in a great game on Sunday Night Football, mirroring the one we got a week ago between the New England Patriots and the Baltimore Ravens. Going to come down to the wire, but I think the Giants are going to do enough to win this game, taking their record to 3-1 on the season and dropping this Eagles team who has played sloppy and careless football to 2-2 on the season. And that is going to do it for this week and the Lab Room's picks. As I complete my Pick'em Weekly, the Lab is going to reign supreme this week. I'm not going to guarantee you anything because I've done that the last 2 weeks and had back-to-back terrible weeks. Catastrophic weeks. Worst week ever weeks. So, I'm not going to do that this week. I'm going to take a different approach and tell you that I'm just going to tear it up. I'm going to light it up. I told you I'm turning up the heat this week. The officials are back, and so I'm officially back. Touchdown. Throw it up. Tack on a quick extra point. I am going to be back this week. And not just back in any old way. I'm going to be back in a very convincing, emphatic fashion. And I owe it to the officials. Glad to see them back. They got a nice, rousing applause last night. And I thought that it was fitting. And I thought that they would get that. And they deserved it. The players on the field came up to them before the start of the game and just told them how much they had been missed and that they appreciate all that they do. And I told you, I thought that we took them for granted. I didn't take them for granted. But I think us as fans as a whole, and even the players and maybe the coaches to a certain extent, take the referees for granted. And I know, I lied. I take that back. I did take them for granted because when I first learned that there were going to be replacement officials starting the preseason, I didn't give it too much thought. I just said, oh, okay. Replacement officials. Whoopee. As long as they don't make egregious calls and they stay out of the way, nobody will notice. No one will care. Quickly, though, throughout the preseason, I learned that it makes a difference. And yes, these officials are a part of this game that we need, that we have to have. And if they are missing, our game is not the same. And so, great to see these guys back on the field. The flow of the game last night was excellent. It went by like we're used to. It wasn't a 4-hour marathon. The pace of the game and the tempo was what we are accustomed to. We got our correct calls. We got our correct verbiage. Good to see guys back that we're familiar with. Gene Steratore, and of course, Ed Hercules Hockley will be doing the Cincinnati-Jacksonville game this week. And you're going to get, of course, John Perry and Jerome Boger and all the guys we've come to know and love. And so it's great to see the officials back. And that's going to lead to me having an excellent week this week. I feel good. I feel it in my bones. It's going to happen. And so, with that being said, I thank you for joining me in the Lab Room today on this Friday edition of In the Lab Room. Went over all the games, gave you my picks. You know where I stand. If you watched yesterday's episode, you saw that I am 26-22 on the season. I got a lot of work to do. I'm only 4 games over 500. That is preposterous after 3 weeks of football. I notched my first victory of the week with the Ravens taking care of business against the Cleveland Browns. And so that's a good start to the week. That's all you can ask for, is to start with a win on Thursday and then move forward and use that to power you through the weekend. I look to be big this week. I look to be strong, and I look to come out and get it done in convincing and emphatic fashion. Come back to you Monday an enthused and refreshed man that has won a lot of games over the weekend. And enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the games. And I always say this on Friday. I'm not going to say it this Friday. But just enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the games. Take it all in. And I will see you on Monday. Have a great weekend.